In an aging 3-story building in eastern Singapore, Ryan Lim takes over a quiet tea shop with rent that's a little too perfect. Staff vanish. Keys don't matter. Lights click by themselves. A blue chair faces a hallway that refuses to hold a shadow. Upstairs, something breathes. In the toilet, a child screams about a woman who won't let him leave. Faces return without reflections. Voices ask one question: why are you still here? As footsteps drag above the ceiling and the third floor stays locked even though no one ever had the key, Ryan learns some places don't want you to stay. They choose you, and if you run, they follow. Ryan Lim had always dreamed of running his own tea bar, a cozy little space filled with warm lighting, the scent of roasted oolong, and quiet jazz humming in the background. But after 2 failed business attempts, he found himself managing someone else's shop, tucked inside an aging 3-story building in eastern Singapore. At first glance, the location seemed ideal. It was affordable, quiet, and just far enough from the main road to avoid noise complaints. But the rent was suspiciously low for the area, and the unit had been vacant for nearly 5 years. Madam Ong, the landlord, brushed it off as bad market timing. Ryan, tired and broke, didn't ask further. But strange things started happening almost immediately. A staff member quit without notice, then another. They gave vague excuses, family emergencies, health issues, but something in their eyes told a different story. They were scared. Then came the night Ryan saw her. She stood in the hallway, an older woman in a traditional black dress, pale skin glowing under the fluorescent light. She stared at him, unblinking, and asked, "Why are you still here?" Ryan wanted to speak, but his throat closed up. Quick pause before the chills continue. Tell me in the comments where you're tuning in from. And don't forget to subscribe, because once we reach 1,000 subs, I'll unlock a brand new schedule, multiple ghost stories every day. You don't want to miss it. Now, let me tell you what happened inside that tea shop, why no one lasted more than a few weeks, and why, to this day, the third floor stays locked, even though no one ever had the key.
It started with Darren. He was the first employee Ryan hired, friendly, punctual, and surprisingly skilled at latte art. A former Army regular, Darren didn't scare easy, but after 3 weeks he texted Ryan late one night, "Sorry bro, I can't keep working here. It's not the job, it's the place." Ryan called him immediately, but Darren didn't pick up. The next morning, Darren showed up just to drop off his apron. He avoided eye contact. When Ryan pressed him, Darren hesitated, then muttered, "I keep hearing someone walking upstairs when I'm closing up, but when I check, no one's there. I thought it was you once, but you had already gone." Ryan laughed it off. "Old buildings creak, sound echoes." But then came Mandy. She was in charge of the register, a cheerful 21-year-old studying part-time at a polytechnic nearby. She loved the job, but suddenly she began calling in sick. Then one night she stayed behind to count the drawer and never came back. Ryan finally got her to meet for coffee. She looked thinner, sleep-deprived. "That place is wrong," she said. "I swear someone followed me into the toilet, but when I turned around, the door was shut and no one was there. I could hear breathing. I couldn't scream." Then she added, in a whisper, "And sometimes I hear a child laughing upstairs." Ryan didn't know what to say. These were 2 good employees, reliable, normal. Why were they suddenly terrified? Still, he tried to be rational. Maybe it was stress. Maybe they were overworked. Maybe they were feeding off each other's anxiety. The human mind is suggestible. But deep down, something didn't sit right. Why did they both mention upstairs? Why the hallway behind the toilet? Why always at night? And why, no matter how early Ryan arrived, Did that back door to the stairwell always seem to be slightly open?
Elaine was the kind of person who didn't believe in ghosts. She was sharp, confident, always cracking jokes about Asian horror tropes whenever customers brought up the strange vibes of the shop. Until it happened to her. One rainy Thursday, Ryan left early for a dentist appointment and asked Elaine to close the store. Business was slow, so around 8:30 p.m. she texted him, "Hey, is it okay if I rest upstairs for a bit? Feeling dizzy." He said yes. By 9:45, she still hadn't come down. Ryan called. No answer. At 10:10, she came stumbling downstairs, pale, silent, eyes wide like she'd seen something she couldn't unsee. She didn't say a word that night, but the next day, she returned her keys, then quietly asked, "Do you believe in sleep paralysis?" Ryan nodded. Elaine sat across from him, fidgeting. "I fell asleep on the staff couch upstairs," she said. "I remember hearing the door creak. I thought it was you coming back." She paused. "I couldn't move, couldn't even blink, but I saw everything." She described a man, shirtless, his body unnaturally hairy, walking slowly into the room backwards. His eyes were pure white, not rolled up, just blank, like porcelain. Then she saw a child. Its head rose up from the side of the couch like it had been crouching. It had no pupils, just black holes where the eyes should be. She was sandwiched between the two figures, frozen. No scream, no movement, just eyes, watching. Then the man whispered directly into her ear in a voice that wasn't human. "You don't belong here." "When I woke up, I wasn't on the couch anymore," she said. "I was in the storage room, on the floor." Ryan's stomach turned. The storage room was down the hall, past the stairs. It had no reason to be unlocked, no reason for her to be there. He wanted to find a logical explanation. Maybe she had a nightmare and wandered in her sleep. But the building had no cameras upstairs, no alarm tripped, and the only key to the storage room was still hanging on its hook. Elaine left that same afternoon. No notice, no goodbye. She never answered Ryan's calls again. And for the first time, he stopped laughing at ghost stories.
By now, Ryan was sleeping with the lights on. He hadn't told Madame Ong anything yet. She was practical, the kind of landlord who would roll her eyes at the idea of bad energy. But he was noticing things, little things, things that didn't make sense. Like the chair. It was a simple blue plastic chair kept near the back door for staff to sit during breaks. Ryan saw it every day, used it himself. But one morning, it was gone. Not just moved, gone. He checked the side alley, upstairs, even asked the hawker next door if someone borrowed it. Nothing. He brushed it off, probably misplaced. Until 6 p.m. that day when he stepped out of the kitchen and saw it. The chair was back, same spot, same angle, clean, dry, like it had never moved. Ryan stood frozen. He checked the back door, locked. The windows shut. No one else had access. The camera feed showed nothing, just a glitchy static blur at exactly 5:43 p.m. That night he stayed after close, trying to rationalize. Stress? Sure. Maybe someone played a prank. But then it happened again. 3 days later, the toilet light turned on by itself. A full click of the switch. He was alone. No wind, no movement, just the sharp click in an empty shop. Then, a soft scraping sound, like a chair sliding across tile. Ryan turned. The blue chair was facing the back hallway now. Not the table, not the kitchen. The hallway. He approached slowly, his hand shaking. That's when he noticed the chair cast a shadow, but the hallway behind it didn't.
Auntie Sim was a regular. In her 60s, always smiling, always dressed in vintage Peranakan prints. She lived a few blocks away and came in almost daily for her jasmine milk tea. She'd chat with Ryan about old Singapore, kampangs, ghost month taboos, things she claimed the young people had forgotten. She was warm, familiar, the kind of customer you looked forward to seeing. So when Ryan saw her standing near the hallway one quiet evening, he didn't think twice. She was wearing a long black dress, her hair tied back, her hands clasped in front. She wasn't moving, just standing, staring toward the toilet door. "Auntie?" he called out. She turned slowly. Her face was blank. No smile, no warmth, just a calm, unreadable expression. And then she said, "You're still here?" Ryan froze. Her voice was low, distant, like it came through an old radio. Then something hit him. The floor tiles beneath her feet were spotless. The afternoon cleaners had just left. But there was no reflection, no shadow. The light overhead was bright, but her figure didn't cast anything. Nothing. Before he could move, the back door slammed shut, the gust of wind nearly knocking over a tray. Ryan blinked. She was gone. He ran outside, checked both exits. Empty street. 20 minutes later, a familiar voice called out as the bell above the door rang. It was Auntie Sim, cheerful, waving, dressed in her usual colorful top. "Sorry, I'm late today. Got stuck talking to my neighbor," she said. "Did you miss me?" Ryan's blood ran cold. He hadn't told her what just happened, but something about the way she looked around, confused, like she sensed something was off, made him wonder. Was she ever late before? Or was whatever he saw simply pretending to be her?
It was a Saturday afternoon, and the shop was unusually busy. Families had come in after their temple visits. Couples sipped bubble teas in silence. The soft hum of lo-fi jazz played in the background. For the first time in weeks, the shop felt normal. Then a little boy went to the bathroom. He was about 7, maybe 8, wearing a Marvel t-shirt, hair still damp from the rain. His parents were sitting nearby, scrolling through their phones. After a few minutes, the boy hadn't come back. The mother got up, knocked gently on the door. Boy, you okay?" No response. Then came the scream, a piercing, terrified cry from inside the toilet. The mother yanked the handle, locked. The father jumped up, banged on the door. "Open it! Open the door now!" The boy was yelling, sobbing. "Don't let her take me! She's in here! She's hiding!" The staff rushed to help. Ryan found the emergency release key and opened the door. The boy was huddled in the corner, face pale, eyes wide in horror. The light inside was off, even though the switch was on. The faucet was dripping, even though the handle was tight. He clung to his mother and wouldn't let go. "She turned off the lights," he cried. "She laughed in my ear. She said I can't leave." Ryan walked in. The toilet was empty. No signs of anyone else. The only sound was the slow, rhythmic drip from the sink. The parents didn't argue. They scooped him up and left their drinks untouched on the table. Ryan looked at the table. The mother's phone was still open, the screen frozen mid-scroll. The father's jacket still hung on the back of the chair. They didn't even stop to grab them. That night, Ryan didn't sleep, because what the boy said kept echoing in his head. He said, "I can't leave." And for the first time, Ryan wondered, what if that message wasn't meant for the boy?
Ryan had made up his mind. Just one more week. One more week to finish the month. Close the books, hand the keys back to Madame Ong. He wasn't going to quit without closure, or at least that's what he told himself. But the house had other plans. It was just past midnight. Ryan was finishing inventory in the kitchen. The shop was closed, doors locked, lights dimmed. He was alone. Or so he thought. From upstairs came a tap. Not a footstep, not a knock. Just one precise tap, like a finger touching wood. He paused, waited. Then came the voice. "Why haven't you left?" It wasn't angry, it wasn't loud. It was curious, calm, like someone genuinely wondering. Ryan spun around. No one. The stairs were dark. The lights had flickered out again, like they often did when no one touched the switch. Then the toilet door creaked open, very slowly. He stepped into the hallway. The chair was there again, turned toward the back, perfectly aligned with the doorway. The faucet began to drip. Then he heard it. Breathing. Not his own. Slow, heavy, rhythmic, like something big, just behind the doorframe. Ryan stepped back. The air had gone cold. The kind of cold that doesn't come from faulty aircon. He whispered, "Who's there?" Silence. Then from upstairs, directly above him, the unmistakable sound of something dragging, like wood against concrete. Long, deliberate, heavy. Ryan didn't wait this time. He grabbed his keys, his phone, and walked out. Not ran, walked, because something inside told him, if you run, it follows. That was the last time he stayed in that building after dark. The next morning, he sent his resignation. No notice, no explanation. He never stepped foot in the shop again.
Ryan didn't return to pick up his last paycheck. He didn't reply to Madamong's texts. He didn't explain. There was nothing left to say. A week later, the shop quietly closed. No clearance sale, no goodbye post on Instagram. Just a handwritten sign on the door. Temporarily closed for renovations. But the lights never turned on again. Madamong returned the keys to the landlord before the lease expired. She refused to talk about it to anyone, even when a reporter came by asking questions for a local hauntings podcast. She simply said, "It was a business decision, that's all." Ryan took a break from work, moved back in with his parents for a while. He started freelancing again, slowly rebuilding a simpler life. He never opened another shop. But sometimes, when people ask about his past ventures, he tells them this: there are places you don't choose. There are places that choose you, and some of them don't want you to stay. He doesn't try to convince anyone. Most laugh. Some get quiet. But every now and then, someone nods slowly, like they've seen something too. Ryan still doesn't know what he experienced. A haunting? A hallucination? Or something older? Something that had nothing to do with him, but everything to do with that house. All he knows is this: he heard the voice, he saw the woman, and he got out while he still could.
In business, we're often told to keep pushing, to stay, to endure, to make things work. But what if the place itself pushes back? Ryan Lim's story isn't just about a haunted tea shop. It's about intuition, about knowing when something doesn't feel right and having the courage to walk away. Some viewers may see this as superstition,
Others will nod in silent agreement, because if you've ever worked in an old building late at night, with lights flickering and shadows moving just a bit too slow, then you understand. The lesson here isn't about ghosts. It's about listening to the signs, whatever form they take. Whether it's employee burnout, strange coincidences, or voices in the dark, some environments drain more than just energy. They drain you. And when that happens, staying isn't strength. Leaving is. As Ryan said, some places don't want you to stay. And if you ever find yourself in one, believe him. If this story chilled you to the bone, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps us bring more true stories to light. We want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like a place didn't want you there? Was it a workplace, a home, maybe even a hotel room? Tell us in the comments. We read every single one. And don't forget to subscribe, because tomorrow's video takes us deep into a hospital basement that was sealed off for a reason. Turn on notifications so you never miss what's waiting in the dark.